Bonjour everybody and welcome to the Nobara Linux installation guide, where I'm not only going to get you installed with Nobara, I'm also going to get you up and ready to game and create some content, because if you're downloading Nobara, you're likely a gamer and or content creator looking for the best Linux experience. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the OS. This isn't a let's look, this is purely a guide. This guide does assume you've already gone through the pre-install steps. If you want to do a dual boot with Windows, check out that video that's popping up in the corner there. And also that you were able to successfully boot up to the desktop and get into the installation launcher via whatever boot medium you chose. I like to use Ventoy on a USB stick. Check out that video there for more information on how to do that if you haven't already. Before we can get started with installing Nobara, we have to take one crucial and extremely important step, and that is to get the disk image for Nobara and put it on a thumb drive. So let me show you how to download that now. To do that, open your browser of choice and navigate to the Nobara website, nobaraproject.org. It'll be in the description below. Navigate to the right-hand side where it says Download Nobara. Choose your edition of Nobara. If you use an NVIDIA graphics card, scroll down a little bit further. You can download the NVIDIA versions for all of those. For my use case, I'm going to install it on my laptop, which has an NVIDIA graphics card, so I would download this one, the official NVIDIA version, by clicking on Download and selecting I agree. I agreed to this. Downloading the ISO. Once this is done downloading, I'm going to throw it on my USB thumb drive that has Ventoy installed on it, as discussed in my video, how to install Ventoy. So I'm going to assume you've watched that and know what you're doing, so I'm going to save us some time and get back to the installer now. And now that we're booted back into Nobara, let's get started. When you first boot Nobara, you're greeted with the desktop and the installation will automatically pop up. If you want to try it out, just close this and poke around the OS as much as you want. I'm not going to do that right now because this is an installation guide, not a let's look. The first option we're greeted with is a language selection. I'm just going to select American English and hit next. Time zone, select your time zone. I'm in the Eastern time zone of Canada, so this looks right to me. I'm going to hit next. Choose your keyboard layout. I'm a standard US layout, so once again, I can hit next. This is where you put in all of your important info, like your name and your username, your passwords and such. So I'm gonna put in my name. And I'm just gonna leave the name as Nobara PC, but you can call it whatever you like. I'm gonna put in a nice easy password. Don't worry, I don't actually use that password. Now you could have a different password for your root, which is your super ultimate important administrator account that could do anything to the system whatsoever. You could have it be the same as this password you just entered, or you could have a different password. For our purposes right now, I'm just going to have it be the same password, so check that box. If you want to log in automatically when you boot up the computer, check this box. I don't like to do that. I feel the whole point of having a password and stuff is to make your computer secure, and this definitely bypasses that. After that, you can choose to validate your password quality by checking this box, and that'll just make sure you're not using a super weak password or whatever. Hit next. Now comes the fun part. You can see all of my disk partitions here, which is just Windows right now, so that's NTFS. And my disk is up here. If you have multiple disks in your system, they'll appear. There's my USB, and there's my SSD. In order to install a dual boot with Windows, you'd simply check Install Alongside. As you can see, it's showing a before and after down here at the bottom now. If you select the big partition that has Windows on it and click it, you'll see it divides it in half, and you can drag this slider around to your desired space. If you want to give Windows less space and Linux more space, go to the left. If you want Windows to have more space than Linux, go to the right. You get the idea. If you don't want a dual boot, you just want to erase the entire disk, you can do that by hitting that. And then as you can see, the before and after turns into something completely different. You can't select the partition anymore. It'll just format and rewrite the partition table the way it likes to. If you want to just replace an existing partition, for example, if you already have Linux installed, you'd tick that box and select it. Going back to erasing the entire disk. When you're erasing the entire disk, you're able to select the file system. I prefer BTRFS, but anything is pretty good here. ext4 is a little bit older, but still nice. Sleep and hibernate's fine. All these default settings are pretty good. If you don't want to have a swap file or a hibernate file, you're more than welcome to select those options as well. For our purposes, we're going to be doing a dual boot, so I'm going to select install alongside, select this partition here, and I'm just going to leave it at halfway, and I'm going to hit next. It's going to give you a summary of everything you're going to be doing. If you're satisfied with that, install. It'll give you a quick warning, hit install now, and you're off to the races. Hopefully there's no errors because you took the steps necessary in the pre-install guide that I had linked earlier and down in the description. So let's let this finish and move on to the next step. And now that it's done installing, all you have to do is tick the box that says restart now if you want to get started right away. If you want to stay in the live environment, don't tick that. Then hit done in the bottom right corner. This will restart your computer and hopefully you'll be greeted with the grub bootloader when you get to the other side. I'll see you there. Once you get to this point, just let it boot, or you can go into Windows, you saw it there. And I'll see you once Nobara finishes booting up. Once your computer boots up into Linux, you're ready to go. You'll be greeted with the login screen, so put in your nice easy password and hit enter. And you'll be logging in no time. Just give it a second. The Nobara Welcome app will pop up and say, hey, it's your first time running. Would you like to run an update? And you probably should, because if you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a lot of updates since this ISO was released. So definitely hit yes. Then put in your nice easy password again. Hit OK. And the update dialog will pop up. It may restart the update system window a few times. It'll close and reopen. That's perfectly normal. That is a normal behavior. It just means it's updating itself before it tries updating everything else. And what this is asking now is if I want to install codecs for audio and video, which we definitely do. So hit yes. And it'll download and install third-party codecs for us. And now you're ready to install updates, so hit the install update button. And all of the packages will download and install, and you'll be good to go. So let's let this go, and I'll see you back in just a moment. Once the updates are completed, you'll be prompted to reboot. Say yes, reboot the system, and I'll see you back here in a second. Now that your system is fully up to date, you're ready to take your first steps into getting your system ready for gaming and content creation. So let's do that by clicking on First Steps in the Nobara Welcome app. Once you click on First Steps, you can see that there's an Update System option. You literally just did that. There's no real need to go in there again unless you're just curious. And there's a Driver Manager where you can install new drivers for things such as like your graphics cards or your Bluetooth or anything else you have plugged in like a game controller. And the Nobara Tweak tool, which is very handy, especially if you want to auto mount things. So launch that and then type in your easy password. Hit enter. As you can see, the Nobara Tweak tools popped up. Now, the reason we want to be in here is because we can't yet access our Windows drive. If you remember from the pre-install video how we set up Windows to be able to read Linux file systems, we want to do the same for our Linux install. So We'll pop open Dolphin, which is just like File Explorer. It's this blue icon down here of the folder. As you can see, this is the home directory. If we scroll down, we can see basic data partition, and it's not mounted, which is what this little mark on it is. If we click on that, we can enter our password, and we can see that's actually Windows. That's the Windows partition, so all our documents and settings and program files and everything is in there. We can access this anytime without using the Nobara tweak tool, but every time we restart the computer, it's going to be unmounted and you're going to have to put in that password again every time you want to get into your Windows partition. To avoid doing that, we use the Nobara tweak tool. As you can see down here, there's these check boxes. If you tick them, you can see how when I did that, the drive unmounted and then mounted again. That means when I have this selected, our Windows partition will automatically mount. We won't have to put in our password anymore. Anytime we reboot, it's just going to be available to us, which is great. We can close that now. We're done in the tweak tool. And also we can close Dolphin. Now we can move on to some recommended additions, which is fantastic because Nobara is great at walking you through the first steps to get everything ready for you. For example, Discord. You're a gamer, right? You want to talk to your community. Hit the install button on Discord. It's going to pop up. Run an automated install. Once that's complete, just hit the OK button and we can move on to the next thing. I'm assuming you're also a content creator, which is why you picked Nobara. And Nobara has one of the best distro package versions of OBS Studio around, so you're definitely going to want to install that, especially if you're a streamer or you like recording videos like these. Now that that's done, just hit OK again, and we can move on to the next thing. Now you may want to poke around in here a little bit and pick and choose other things that you might like the Snap Store, or maybe you are into Blender stuff. This is a new shadow play-like thing for screen recording and recording your games. Personally, I just use OBS for that, so I don't really see a point, but one of you might. Kdenlive is an excellent open source video editor for anyone who just wants to make simple videos without much hassle. It works great with all kinds of codecs, and it's a lot less frustrating than trying to get Resolve set up. If you prefer just jumping in and making videos, this is definitely one you want to install. However, I'm going to install Resolve later, so I'm going to skip that for now. Now let's get you up in gaming. So let's close Nobara Welcome for now. We installed Discord. I'm assuming you know how to sign into that, but I'm going to show you how anyway. Just launch Discord. It'll do its update thing. Easy. Then you just scan that QR code and Bob's your uncle. I'm not going to do that right now though. As for Steam, that's also pre-installed. Just open the app menu, start typing Steam or navigate to it. It'll be under Games, Steam. Click on that and launch it. For some reason for me, every time I launch Steam the first try, it does nothing. So you're probably going to have to launch it twice. The second time though, I get the updater and everything runs smoothly. Once Steam's up and ready, just log into it like you normally would. Thank goodness for QR code logins, am I right, friends? You're basically ready to game now. But there's a couple extra steps that I want you to take real quick. I want you to launch something called Proton Plus. You can type it into the app menu here. It's pre-installed. And what we're going to do is install Proton GE by going up to this menu, hitting the down arrow. First, we're going to install the one that says Proton GE latest. That's going to be important for us. So hit the download button on the right side here. It's going to install Proton GE latest. And then also download the actual latest version of Proton, the same way you did that. And once that's installed, we'll be able to close Proton Plus. What this does is installs an enhanced version of Proton, which is the compatibility layer that lets you play Windows games in Linux. Glorious Eggroll, who is also behind Nobara itself, works on this particular version of Proton, so it's got some enhancements that might make your games run a little bit more smoothly on the Linux side. Now that that's done, I'm going to close this. I'm also going to exit Steam because it needs to reload the Proton files, so exit Steam, and then relaunch Steam. Now, you're ready to game, but, like I said, we're going to do a little bit of tweaking. Go to the top left and hit the Steam button, and go into the menu, Settings, go to Downloads, scroll all the way to the bottom, and allow background processing of Vulkan shaders. This is important on Linux, because if you don't do this, it's going to try and compile and recompile your shaders every time you launch a game, and you don't want to wait 20 years to play your game every time you want to launch it. So allowing the background processing of them is a must. Move this slider over to the right by clicking on it. Next, we're going to want to do something with that Proton we just downloaded, so click on Compatibility. As you can see, the default for this is Proton Experimental, which is Valve's own version of Proton. We're going to click on that and select Proton GE Latest. Now every time we run a Windows-only game, we're going to use GE's Proton, the latest version you have downloaded. Now that we have that selected, it says restart required. Don't worry, it's not your whole computer, it's just Steam. So click restart. It'll exit Steam, and then next time you relaunch Steam, you'll be good to go. This one is for people like me, the discerning content creator who will accept nothing less than DaVinci Resolve. Is it difficult to install on Linux? Sometimes, but not in Nobara. Here's how. Pop open the Welcome to Nobara app by going to the app menu and typing Welcome. Click on Welcome to Nobara. Select Optional Steps. You can see that there's an option to install or update DaVinci Resolve here. Click Launch. Conveniently, if you haven't downloaded the file already, there's a download link that'll take you to their website to download it. You just go there. It'll pop open your browser. Select Free Download Now. And depending on whether you use the studio version like me or the free version, select Linux. I will, for our purposes, use the free version so I don't have to enter any keys. They're going to ask you to fill this out. It's really annoying for the free version. I don't know why they do that, because with the studio version, you can skip this step. But once you've filled that out, hit register and download, and the file will download. I'm already skipping that step because I've already downloaded it onto this system. Now that you've downloaded DaVinci Resolve, go back into the Welcome app, select the download file by clicking this button here. That'll go into your downloads folder by default. Select the zip file that you downloaded for DaVinci Resolve on the top right. Select open. It'll run a script that'll install all the necessary packages and do all the configuration that needs to be done in order for DaVinci Resolve to get used correctly without breaking. This may take a moment. I'll see you in a sec. Once that's finished, just hit the OK button and you're good to go. You can close that and you can close the Welcome app. As you can see, it left an icon on the desktop for you to use, or you could use the application menu like I prefer. So pop that open and start typing in DaVinci. And then click on DaVinci Resolve. It's going to do its initialization. And there you are, you're in. You can start a project. Boom. Simple as. Let's close that. And there's one final step before you're ready to roll, and that's to make sure if you make a mistake, you can easily fix it. And to do that, we're going to use Timeshift. So open the application menu, type in Timeshift. It's pre-installed in Nobara. Put in your nice easy password, hit enter. Now Timeshift will run you through its initial setup wizard. If you set it up like I did with BTRFS, having that checked is fine. Hit next. It'll by default select the drive that Linux is installed upon. That's perfect. Hit next. Now you can select how many times you want it to create an image that you can restore later on. For safety, I like to create backup images hourly and every boot and daily. That way I'm able to fix stuff if I go tinkering, or if I really break stuff, I'm able to go back to a nice safe point in my life. Once that's done, and once you've selected the frequency you'd like to back the system up to an image, hit next. Do not include your home directory. There is an option to right here. If you so choose, that's completely up to you. There's no wrong way to Linux, but I would highly recommend against it, because every image will back that up and your drive will fill up so fast. It's best to just let the system files get backed up as opposed to everything in your home directory. Hit next. You're done with the setup. Hit finish. Now you can see the Timeshift window here. There's no backup or restores here, but it is active. You can see how much space is left on your hard drive or your SSD. Let's create an initial snapshot though for our system by clicking on Create. It'll run through the process. It may take a moment, depending on how much stuff you've already got on here. It shouldn't take you too long because this is a fresh install though. Once that's completed, you'll be taken back to the main Timeshift window. You can see your snapshot image here. If you ever run into a problem with your Linux installation, just click on this and click Restore. It's a great way to get out of issues such as like you changed a configuration that broke everything, or you deleted something you didn't mean to. It's fantastic. Once you hit Restore, you'll be asked to restart your system. Do that right away. And then you're good to go. And that's it. You're off to the races. You got your Linux installed, you're ready to game, you're ready to create content. Everybody's happy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy Linuxing, and I'll see you in the next one.